So I want to welcome everybody here tonight. I'm Riley Alexander. A few of you know me. I know a few of you as well. And we want to thank you guys for coming tonight. This is going to be an awesome opportunity to be here in Chris Crone's home to watch him present. This is an amazing experience that I always love watching. I want to share a little bit about myself and the adventure that we've had over the past 6 months. We fell in love with Strongbrook in May as we were learning more about real estate. We came across Strongbrook and the ideals and the principles that Chris talks about in his book, The Straight Path to Real Estate, really spoke out to us. And so we jumped on board. We ended up doing the mentoring program. Wileen Benson, she was really, really excited about it. And so we jumped on with the mentoring, and that's really what took off for us, really hit home. In the process of that, we really found out who we were and where we were going and how much Strongbrook was going to change our lives. And over the past 6 weeks, things have fallen into place that 6 months ago, I never would have imagined happening. Right now, we've got quite a few of our team members that have come on in the last 3 weeks from Texas. Hey, guys. Orlando, New York, all over the country. Our team has just exploded. And 90% of that, 99% of that comes because we did the mentoring class, we did the Conscious Creator Live. It's because of Strongbrook, and we're changing lives. One of the really amazing things that happened today is a gal that's on our team is ready to start transacting real estate. She didn't think it was going to be possible for a little while. She came on board. She didn't realize it was going to be this fast, and she's just so excited now. We are really excited to be down here. We drove 3.5 hours to come down to the meeting tonight. We wouldn't miss it for the world. When we saw that it was going to be tonight, it was something we just had to be a part of. A little bit about Chris Crone. Many of you know him. I consider Chris a friend, and I'm sure many of you in this room do. He's a wonderful, wonderful man, and I look up to him immensely. I'm really grateful for what he's created, as it's changed my life and it's enabled me to help change other lives and bring other people up. So with that, I want to present Chris Crone to everybody. So here's Chris.
Thank you very much. Perfect. Hey, how are y'all doing tonight?
Great.
Hello, all the people in the little iris of the camera from all across the country. Welcome, welcome. I get really excited. Can you mute me down just a little bit? I get a little excited when that happens. The volume gets real loud. Welcome into my home. I want to take a moment and just thank my wife, Colleen, who is so awesome to not only support this amazing company as a part of it, but opens up her house and is, it doesn't matter when I get a text or call from someone that says, Chris, we want to come over to the house. We want to jam with you. We want to take some time. Her first impulse is always, absolutely, Chris, I support you. And she's an amazing woman. Thank you. She is amazing. Thank you. So we've got some chairs right here. Feel free to fill in. What I'd like to do tonight is I would like to give a little bit of an overview of what it is we do in real estate. I'd like to pass the mic. I've got several clients in the room here collectively who have bought dozens of homes. Their lives have been changed. They've experienced some fantastic things. I don't want to rob you the opportunity to actually hear and learn from them. But what I want to do then is I want to turn our attention to something that has made this company life-changing in an even far greater way. And I'm really excited to talk about that because it has taken this company to a multi-billion-dollar level. In fact, we're nearing our first $1 billion of services provided. And right now as a company, it's taken off. You look at our last several $100 million worth of real estate that we've done with our last several thousand clients, and we really have brought something unique to the marketplace. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to back up and maybe just share a little bit of my personal story, how my wife and I got started with this, and then really what our intention is on bringing this to a global level to change lives in a way that it's changed ours. My story personally all comes down to freedom. Freedom is the last living American ideal today. It is what makes America different than any other country on the planet. And if we could rewind the clock 200 years, there were 4 other American ideals that were a part of the founding fathers' philosophy for setting up this great country. But you know what? We don't even know what they are anymore because they're lost. One of them was Georgics, which means real estate property ownership. To be an American meant to be an owner of property. And that's one of the things that we're looking at restoring. And I'm going to share with you a little how we're doing that. So let me kind of get back and kind of share with you a little bit of my journey of freedom. Because if I were to rewind the clock just 12 years, I felt like I was in bondage. My wife and I were newly married. We were financially trying to figure out how to do life. And I just had my dreams crushed. I was going to school at BYU, local university, and I wanted to be a doctor. And for an entire year, I was doing my pre-med classes. And after a year, I got sick and tired of retaking the same classes, having my counselors tell me, in my words, Chris, you are far too stupid to ever make it into medical school. That's kind of the way it went down. I couldn't get better than a C- in organic chemistry. Anyone here like chemistry? Because I don't like you. No, not my favorite class. So I'll tell you what happened. I had that dream pop, went home, told my wife, and fortunately she still loved me. So she was married more than just the idea of what my future career might be. I don't want to make this story too long, but I'll share with you this. I found 3 local men who had made millions of dollars in real estate. And as a young person in college, I decided that I wanted something different than what I seemed to see most people around me have. I wanted freedom. I didn't know what my big dream was. I just knew what I didn't want. And I couldn't see myself falling in love with any career path that would fulfill my dreams. So my drive for freedom was to not get stuck in a passionless career. 4.5 years later, 1 year after I graduated college, my wife and I purchased our 25th property. Those homes were pulling in a very significant 6-figure residual income, and quit my job, retired, and we actually had just finished building and moved into this custom home. And it was crazy how it happened in such a short period of time. By the way, is there anyone here that would love to have their life dramatically changed over a 4-year stint to become completely free, independent, off the grid? Is there anyone here? Hey, I'm going to share with you how you can do it in less than 4.5 years, because I now have the team, the systems, and the strategy to do it a whole lot faster. And there are thousands that have gone before you, and I'm going to be spending most of tonight talking about this acceleration methodology. It's a very, very real, tangible program. But I want to back up and tell you a little bit more about what happened. Because when I got my 25 homes, we had built a company in real estate based off of a very different premise. If you want to play in the real estate arena, then you either go in as a realtor or a broker. And what you do is you earn a commission for helping people find homes. You can be the investor that can rope themselves into a job with hundreds of hours to transact a home and make, honestly, some very significant income. Your other option out there is to pay maybe $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 for the real estate education companies, and they will train you how to become one of those investors. We brought something new to the industry that has never been done before. We created this notion, and the notion was done-for-you real estate, facilitated. Like, what if you could have an expert of 200 experts step into your life and build a portfolio of a dozen cash-flowing homes for you, and you would maybe need to put in 40 or 50 hours spread over 10 years? Would that sound a little too good to be true?
A little bit.
Yeah. Let me share with you how it came about. So my wife and I move in this house, and I decided to have an open house because I had done that on my 2 other homes, and I hadn't made the connection. Those 2 homes were much smaller. In fact, the first one was very modest. It would fit in this room right here. So when I invited my family and friends over to celebrate with me my home purchase, they were so excited. They came, they brought food, and they celebrated. It was awesome. 2 years later, we moved into a nicer home, but a modest home, and they came over and they celebrated. And so, 2 years later, when we moved into this home, I thought, oh, when we move into a new home, we do a what? We do an open house, so let's invite the whole family over. This time when they came over, it was such a weird, bizarre, strange experience because they knew I had just graduated. My wife and I are starting to travel the world. We're driving Cadillacs and BMWs, and they walk in this house and their eyes are just big. And the energy got strange really quickly. And I hadn't perceived that with my mentors over 4.5 years, I had rewritten all the rules of creating wealth. I don't trade dollars for hours. I only use leverage and a dozen other rules. Those are rules that aren't part of the typical American mindset. And I knew that. But I had to kind of find out the hard way. By the way, if your family came in and walked in on you, just graduated, living that kind of life, what kinds of comments do you think you could get? Do you do drugs? I feel like I'm on drugs. I'm on a perpetual high. No, I mean, all sorts of skepticism, right? Well, even though that was a very bizarre experience, here was my take-home message. Poor people are weird. I'm serious. Poor people are weird. They get some of the weirdest ideas in their head about you shouldn't be, and rich people can't do this, and they're dirty, rotten, and stinking, and all these weird, funny notions. So I just decided I'm going to close myself off from the world talking about money, especially family. But ever since I moved in this house, every day a stranger would come knock on my door, somehow get my cell phone, call me up and say, hey, you don't know me, but I heard you're young, you made this money in real estate. If I paid you, could you teach me? I'm looking for a mentor. Let me ask you, if you were my friend, how many of you would pay some money if I could teach you a multi-million-dollar earning system? That was what they would do every single day. And for me, it was weird. I had made my decision. I'm going to close myself off from the world. So my response was always, no. Besides, if I said yes, I'd have to pour thousands of hours into like becoming a trainer. Oh, there's just no leverage there. That just seemed really disgusting to me. You couldn't pay me enough to do it. But after a year, someone changed my mind. It was a person that had become a friend. They came to my door with tears, and they begged. They said, Chris, I will pay you. You've got to teach me. I need this right now because of where my marriage is. It touched my heart, and that's when I got an idea. I'm not going to train him. I'm just going to do it for him. My team does it that way for me. Why not let him access my team? I can't touch all the deals they're finding. I've got access to all the different banks and property management, the entire system. So I decided to let him in. 2 years later, he had 25 properties. And it opened up a very powerful door. In fact, in the last 8 years being in business now, we're in our 8th year business, we have now taken thousands of family through hundreds of millions of dollars of transactions all across the country. And they don't come looking for real estate. They don't want to become an investor, and they don't want to be educated on how to be the master investor. Do you know why they come? Freedom. They want a better life. They want the same thing my wife and I wanted. So we set up a total different way of doing real estate than has ever been done. To this date, there's not a company out there that does what I'm about to share with you. When someone comes and joins our organization, I'm going to give them access to my team of 200 experts. I'm not going to take them to their backyard to do low ROI real estate. I'm going to take them to the top 5 hottest markets in the country at any given moment, where the ROIs are highest, where you've got the least risk and the highest profitability. Does this make sense? So I take them into our equity growth markets like Orlando or Vegas or Phoenix, where I'll buy homes for $50,000 less than they cost to build, and they're practically brand new. Or I'll take them into Memphis or Indianapolis, where I average a 14% cap rate. Any investors in the room? 14%. Does that sound hot? Yeah, if you can get a net 14%, investors will get excited over 8%. Why do we have the track record that we have in real estate? It's because this is what we have been doing for years now. And it's all based on a very specific strategy. I won't go into the merits of it tonight, but I did write a book. This first book, The Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth, is a mathematical argument why this system is the singular best way to make the most money in real estate with the least time and effort. And I admitted that I was a total dunce with chemistry, correct? Okay, I'm going to share with you one of my gifts. I really like math. I am a total nerd when it comes to math. I was nervous at BYU about graduating with basically no degree, so I thought maybe I should get a backup and take my prereqs so that I could actually go and get an MBA, which I never did, by the way. But I have to take a stats class, so I decided to do that. And I was nervous because I was always failing my Weeder classes. Well, I took that stats class, and out of 200 students, at the end of that semester, I was number 1 in the entire class. And I almost never studied. It was just complete, like creating algorithms. That's fun. I'm a nerd. So I wrote a system, and I said, I want to know of all the 32 major real estate strategies, which is best. And I wrote this book.
The route of getting the education. Well, the more I learned, the more afraid I got to get in the world and play in the real estate world, because I knew you could get burnt pretty seriously. So when I found, what was REIC at the time, Strongbrook now, and so they do everything for you, and that's the only way that I could I could do real estate. And so I'm so thankful that I get to play in the game, and we're getting ready to do our third property, and I love playing on both sides of the company, so the business side as well as the investment side.
Thank you, guys. Give it up for Cheryl. I appreciate that. Sherry, do you mind just briefly, 30 seconds, your experience?
So we got involved with Strongbrook about a year ago, and we were able to purchase our first home in January, and we have had a switch in renters, but that came with a renter and a contract for a year. They had some job problems and ended up moving out, and it made me really nervous, honestly, because I hadn't obeyed the sleep well at night account advice from my coach, and I didn't have quite enough to support very many months of no rent. But the project manager was great and had renters in there in 2.5 weeks. So that was awesome. And
Very cool.
We were able to do a partnership and get a second home in July. And both houses are rented, both are cash flowing. They're both in equity markets, so the cash flow is $200 or a little less, roundabout there, a month. So not huge on cash flow, but the equity has gone up for sure significantly on the property that we purchased in January.
Awesome. Give it up. Thank you. Thank you. Just going to grab a couple of more here. I'm going to come over here to the Gradens. Bill, Julia, how long have we been playing together?
About a year.
Awesome. 1 year. What have you done in a year?
We've got 4 homes.
Awesome.
We're getting ready to purchase 3 more. And,
7 homes. Very cool. Nice.
it's been phenomenal. We have about $1,600 a month in cash flow.
Rock on.
And we decided to diversify the markets, so we have 2 in Phoenix, 1 in Indianapolis, and 1 in Florida. And we've just experienced the most amazing good customer support with the property management companies, and just everything from Strongbrook hooking us up with the loan officers and the banks and property management and the inspectors. We've had some homes that had to be rehabbed just a little bit, and everything is just a really slick process. So
We just had phenomenal people we worked with at every juncture. The best real estate agents I've ever worked with have been with Strongbrook, and the best people we've ever seen to rehab our homes. Just phenomenal, folks.
Guys, give it up for the Gradens. Thank you. Thank you. We got several other people in here we could kind of put on the spot. I appreciate those that shared. We'll have a few more a little later of some other nature. Here's what we did different. When I got to 25 homes, here's what I didn't tell you. I started pulling my hair out because I was trying to get my team on the same page, and it became a part-time job. And not only that, but it turned into hundreds of hours of minutia, paperwork, stuff that I started to absolutely detest, for those of you that know me. So what I did after I retired is I reconstructed my team. I re-engineered the process. I hired them all under one roof. You're not going to see this in real estate. The realtors, the loan officers, the property managers, the insurance team, the coach, they all sit next to each other under the same roof. Take all their commissions away from them, put them on salary, and the bonus gets paid on how well they work together as a team. And it has completely shifted and changed the experience that our clients have. Now, let me kind of help you understand how people get started with their company, and then I want to shift gears and talk about something else I think is really exciting. If someone wants to play with our company, what we do is we recommend that everyone get something called a game plan. You request a game plan. It costs free $99. So what does it cost? Free. Here's the purpose of the game plan. It's 2 things. We're going to send you a game plan report. It's 27 pages of information, track record, system, philosophy, how we're making money in up and down markets, all the stuff that an engineer would want to know. Then you get a free consultation, and the strategy session is where on the phone someone from our team will reach out and say, if we were you, then this is how you could get into real estate over time. it will reveal that you can either immediately jump into real estate or that it'll take you a year or two before you can jump into real estate. If you cannot immediately start participating in real estate, you pay $499 and $99 a month. This will do something for you. It's going to get you working with the coaches, the team, to get you prepping and working and moving forward on your plan so that you can move towards real estate with your specific game plan. When it comes time to start transacting, every dollar of that will be applied to either a $5,000, $8,000, or $16,000 program, depending on whether you want to come in at a 1-house level, a 4-house level, or an unlimited house for lifetime level. In other words, we created different tiers to work with people in different financial situations. Does that make sense? Okay. The $499 and $99 a month is going to do something else for you. It's going to get you into a separate business opportunity for free. And that's what I really want to talk about tonight, because this is how we are amping people's results. And before I share exactly what that means, I want to share with you one of my predicaments I had 3 years ago and how we solved it. My first several years of being in business, do you know how I acquired a client? Spending millions of dollars on radio, TV, and traditional advertising. And in the recession, I will tell you that those dollars were very poorly spent. When a client would pay $10,000 or $8,000 to join, I had to write a $2,000 check on top of that just to get them in. That's how expensive it was. And by the way, if your model put you upside down like that, what would I be motivated to do with that client? Help them succeed and buy a lot of real estate, because it's the only way I can recapture and get ahead. Does that make sense? So it was a good thing for us because it had us just learn how to crush the real estate side of things. But over time, we wanted to find a more intelligent way of marketing to get people in the business. After 5 years of doing that, with all of the clientele having the success they were, we found that over 70% of our clientele were now coming in through word of mouth. And so what would happen is Cheryl would transact a home, tell her son about it, and now all of a sudden her son wants to join and get involved. And it doesn't take very long before Cheryl comes knocking on the door saying, well, my son just wrote you a check for $8,000. And what was Cheryl asking for? A kickback something, a little referral fee, right? Well, 3 years ago, we decided to re-engineer the referral fee at a professional level because I wanted to ditch my traditional marketing and I wanted the whole thing to be word of mouth. Now, by the way, word of mouth only works if what? People love what they're experiencing in real estate. Does that make sense? Does anyone here know how hard it is to help a client put a smile on their face in the world of real estate? It ain't easy. There's 341 hours we put in as a team on average per house that we transact for our clients. And if we have one little miscommunication, it is amazing how that can create such a bloody boo-boo. It's just a little scratch. So we have to have a really solid process in place to be word of mouth. Well, 3 years ago, we turned on a word of mouth system to solve a problem. First 5 years, here's the problem. I do traditional marketing. I get on a plane and go up to Seattle. There's 100 people in the room. I get up for 45 minutes. I share what my company does. 90% of them are thrilled. 90% of them all want a free game plan. By the way, how many of you would like to get a free game plan? You already know enough to say, I think I'd like to get some free information and see if this could work for me. So that's what people are doing. They're requesting a free game plan. Here's the problem. Under my old model, I already knew up front that I could only help 28% of those people in the room immediately start transacting real estate. And that meant that the other 2/3, it was just kind of a, well, come back in a couple years, budget, save more money, then come back. It felt lame, and I didn't like it. I needed to find a way, a turnkey way to help someone with no money transact real estate. Would anyone like to learn about that? Cool. I'm going to share with you the slightly long story of what happened. A little less than 4 years ago, 2 gentlemen approached me when I was in transition, and they said, Chris, we think you're an idiot. And they said, you only let your clients refer people into your program. We can't afford to be clients, but we think we should be able to refer people and get paid like those people. Don't discriminate. And being a not marketing genius, I was like, well, that's stupid. You have to be a client to refer someone because you have to be able to share your personal experience. Well, these guys hounded me for 3 months, and I finally gave in and said, okay, you guys get a 6-month experience. 6 months later, they had built the largest army, who are bringing in more clientele than ever before, completely proved me wrong, and they came to my office and sat down and said, okay, Chris, we want to take this to the next level. And I said, good, I want to take it to the next level too. What do you think that means? They said, our marketers, if they could be clients, they would be clients. We want you to bonus them real estate. And I thought, man, that's crazy. So it's either a really dumb idea or a genius idea. I thought that it could be a really good idea. 2 days later, these two gentlemen died in a plane crash. And it was tragic for the company. Tragic because they had become friends. Tragic because they were going to take this to the next level. Well, after a month of funerals, we were recommended to go see an expert in Phoenix who had launched 900 companies. And 23 of the top 100 direct selling or MLM companies were birthed out of his office. So we paid a fee. I flew my executives in. I showed them what we got. And the guy got so excited. He said, Chris, you have no idea what you have here. He says, you have a back end that is so profitable, I could create a compensation model that gives you these home bonuses. I could build you a compensation model that could afford to pay out double of anything I've ever launched in 30 years being in business with 900 companies. And that's the road we went down. We pulled a couple $1 million together. We put together a separate marketing company called Stromberg Direct, and I'll share with you the basic tenets of it. If you refer someone to the company, I'm going to pay you up to $3,000, and you don't have to do any sales. Is anyone interested in that? Number two, if you refer people, they're going to tell other people who want to refer people, and they're also going to come looking for some money. So we want you to pay it out on multi-tiers, MLM style. And we'll pay out up to $1,000 overrides. And I said, whoa, hold the phone. I'm not from Utah, but I moved to Utah, and there's a subculture in Utah that says MLM is not a good thing. And I don't know from personal experience, but I don't know if that's a good idea. They said, Chris, if this were a typical MLM, a pill, potion, lotion, it probably wouldn't be a good idea. People are too stupid to know that an MLM's engine is so tiny that they have to get thousands involved to make any money. That's how people get duped all day long. It's like, some common sense coming out of his mouth. He says, Chris, with this compensation model, you'll be able to pay out nothing even close to what an MLM does. Well, 2 years later, our company pays out 23 times more money on the same effort than a typical MLM, according to our earnings disclosures and how we're paying people. Real estate is such a big economic engine. Throw MLM out the window. You build a team, and I've got people here like Gary Norris, who in his best month earned $94,000 in a single month with a matter of several hundred people on his team. And he's here tonight. We'll get a chance to hear from him. Give it up for him. Yeah. All right. But anyway, forget that. He says, we'll pay these really big commissions without people doing sales. If they build a team, we'll do overrides. They can build this way, that way, both ways, whatever they want. Choose your own adventure. But here's what will happen. When their network, every time that network transacts as few as 75 homes, we're going to pay out a $35,000 home bonus. We're not going to give a stupid car bonus, a liability that costs you money, goes down in value, depreciates. We're going to give them a garage to park the car in. We're going to give them an appreciating asset. We're going to give them a bonus big enough to go buy a house. And it has no legs and it cannot walk away. And I thought, that's what I need. I don't know if it'll be for everybody, but at least if someone sits down and says, Chris, I got money, I can say, let's start doing real estate. If they come to me and say, Chris, I got no money, I can say, great, let's go do real estate. And if they come and they say they want to do both, then we can do both. So we put this together. That $4.99 and $99 a month that people pay to become an education-based client with every dollar going towards their upgrade, that also gets you into the business completely for free. So that's how most people actually end up joining. And it has, right now, it is erupting. I had a chance to hear from Riley, who introduced me and called me up here. In the last 2 weeks, he's had, I think, 50, 60 people join his team all across the country. And I could be dropping some names and share some things that would be meaningful to many of you here in this room. Right now, we've had 3 years to basically prep this out, massage it. We're in our 8th year of business, and literally right now it is taking off like nothing we have ever seen before. And here's what it means. Here's the dream. Freedom for hundreds of thousands of Americans. What is freedom? Don't tell me it's to do what you want, when you want, however you want. That's garbage. Financial freedom means to have enough passive income that covers your expenses. Like just finance 101. If your expenses are $4,000 a month, $16,000 a month, $9,000 a month, then we build you a big enough team or do enough real estate investing where the passive income equates to what your expenses are. What happens when your investments or your business pays you more than your expenses? Then you're done. Friends, I did it by the age of 26. I've got people hopping on and blowing this thing up and taking it to a whole new level like never before. And right now, we're on a mission to create that freedom for hundreds of thousands of people. I want to end with this, and then I want to kind of open it up for Gary Norris and a few others to come share their experience. My very first mentor, I want to share two ideas with you. My very first mentor sits down with me and he says, Chris, you like real estate, but you don't know why you like it. I'm going to tell you why you like real estate. Like, all right. He says, I'm going to give you three options. Right now, first of all, you have a job and you trade dollars for hours. How's that working out? It's like, well, I make $18,000 a year. I would not say it's working out very well. So he says, so here's what you can do. He says, I'm in an MLM called Quickstar. I make $14,000 a month. I've got 5,000 people in my downline. You could do that. He says, but you don't want to do that. I was like, I do? I don't. Why? He says, because you're leveraging a really tiny product. And do you know how much of that you have to push to start making money? You got to get thousands involved. And I said, well, you did it. He says, but I'm extraordinary. Shh, that's the secret to the whole game. Most people have not had their breakout moments. So there will be 2% winners and 98% losers. Just speaking. He says, so that's one option. It's like, oh, what's behind door number two? He says, door number two, you can go sell cars. I'm like, oh, used car salesman. He says, if you sell a car, you'll trade the same amount of time, but you could make $1,000 on commission. It's like, well, 1,000 sounds better than $32. I think I'd like that better. He says, but let me tell you why I love real estate. He says, I can spend the same amount of time buying an investment property, and when I sell it, I can make $100,000. And I said, well, I like that one best. Rather than 10,000 motions and 10,000 sales, how about 10? I became a millionaire by the age of 25 because of real estate. Friends, real estate is what it used to mean to be an American. 100 years ago, we lost that. The Industrial Revolution pulled us off of our farms. We got enticed by these things called pensions that turned into 401ks, amounts of money that will never be enough for retirement. And that is why the majority of Americans, they get to retirement and it's total panic mode. How do I know this? Because my father came to this country from Germany looking for the American dream. And he had 9 kids, an expensive family, and when he retired broke. He went bankrupt. He lost his house. He lost his business. He lost everything. Like so many Americans. And one of the greatest privileges of the abundance that my wife and I have been blessed with is to care for my parents for all these many years now. It's one of the biggest blessings and stewardships that we have. This is a real need in this country right now. Here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that are looking for simple, turnkey businesses that need to put in some sweat equity. My average commission earner makes $935 a month. What does it cost to start the business? $500. Does anyone say that ROI seems to make some sense? Does that make sense? That's a 10-to-1 ROI by the end of the year for my average commission earning independent business developer. If you can multiply your money times 10, but even bigger than that, give yourself a chance. If you will use our systems, our company has like 5 different amazing systems that if you're willing to work hard, whether it's part-time or ultra part-time, we can show you these systems how to get yourself launched. At the end of the day, why real estate for me? Because I'm interested in leverage and the least time for making the most money changing the world. And I'll tell you, we've already heard from some people. I want to talk to a couple more. Please help me welcome up Gary Norris. I want to tell you something about this man. I met Gary a little over 3 years ago.
How are you?
Welcome, brother. Here, you take the hot seat.
Oh, I'll stand.
Okay. When I met Gary Norris, he came to me as a real estate investor. He came to me as someone that had knowledge of real estate. Did you have your agent's license even?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't hold it against you.
Me neither. You sort of.
Gary came in, and in the last 3 years, he has built one of the largest and most powerful teams of our company. He and his wife are absolutely amazing leaders, amazing people. Most of you here in this room would probably get the opportunity to work with them. He and his wife to date have helped their clients transact nearly 400 homes all across the country. And one man and one woman have been able to do this, and he'll share with you actually the system and the strategy and how it's possible. Please give it up for Gary.
Thank you. He never said how much time I have, so I'm good for 30 minutes. Just kidding. I just want to thank everyone for being here. I think it's neat to, every time I come here, I see some familiar faces and I see new faces every time. And I thought tonight I'd be able to just hide in the back and be with my 12-year-old and we could leave when it was over. But now I'm up here and I want to share a thought or two. When I first heard of this company, it was through my friends who perished in that plane crash. And they had sent me some Facebook messages and said, you need to look at this company and get to know this guy named Chris Crone. He wrote this book. And I remember this going like 4 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago. And I looked at that book, Chris, on the book. And Chris looked like he was 12. Right? And I'm like 48 now, so I was like 45 thinking I knew something. I'm like, this kid doesn't know nothing. So what? He does real estate. He's probably done a few houses and wrote an ebook to brand himself. I've done deals. I could write an ebook. Well, I never did, but I could. And he's probably just one of those guys that's slick. And I come to find out that that was not true. And it took me a few months to pay attention to those messages on Facebook. And I'm so glad I did, because when I found out the heart of the company and the character after I did my due diligence, I was really excited because although at the time I lived in Idaho Falls, Idaho, I had my license, my real estate license. I was using it mostly to find and fund my deal or find my deals and do my own deals. Well, I ended up losing 3 of my homes to foreclosure and had my own little set of whoopses along the way, learning hard lessons. And when I found a company that would go out and do real estate for people, I knew that I couldn't even play with them myself financially. But man, I knew that they could help people that I knew. And so that's what I did. When they said, Gary, we'll pay you a referral check if you refer people to us. I said, okay. This was before it was all official like it is right now. How much will you pay me? They said $1,800 for a referral if they do the unlimited package. Like, okay, but what if I find someone else that finds someone? Will you pay them and me? And they're like, no. You split it with them if you need to. Like, okay, so it was different to see these no tools available yet. They were reaching out saying, refer business to us and we'll help this company grow. You know what I did? I just started showing people a little video on YouTube that I found that Chris Crone had made. And it was just a sneak peek at the company and Chris. And it was kind of a cheesy video. And so before I would show the video to my friends, I'd say, just bear with me. He might come across as like cheesy. He kind of is. If you get to know him, though, you understand he's got a good heart. And then I would say, okay, you watch the video. What do you think? If you're interested, they'll give you a free game plan consultation. And by the way, if they do and you like what you see, they're going to sell you into their program. They'll enroll you. And by the way, if you do that, they're going to send me a check for $1,800. And by the way, if you don't like that, then don't go get a game plan. And that's really what I did. So much so that I started driving people from Idaho Falls down to Orem when they would do a meeting to let them meet the company, just to let them come and meet. And he never knew this at the time, but I would sleep in my car at times. We had no money, and we were soon to be kicked out of one of our homes. And I would sleep in the car, driving back home. I'd get to about Brigham City, and I'm just dead tired. It's midnight, and I just take a nap, wake up in a few hours. But I did it because I knew I could help people. And I had at this, and after I did this in 2011, and in 2011, they were just toying with the idea of forming a real direct sales program. And I made $27,000 in thank you checks, just helping people while I was doing other business in Idaho. And as 2011 came to an end and 2012 started, they officially came out and said, we're going to be called Stromberg Direct. We're going to be able to pay $3,000. It's going to be able to pay $1,000 override. So if you do know someone, we can give them the $3,000. And if you help them, we'll give you $1,000. And you can get a home bonus. I'm like, that was intriguing. A home bonus. That means like when you help people get in the program, when they purchase 75 homes, we'll write you a check for $35,000. Now, that was powerful to me because at the time, I was just referring people because I knew it would bless their lives. And a few people had joined, 7 or 8 people. And then I thought, if they're really doing this and they're now going for it, I better go for it. So my wife and I decided to move here. We had to move. We were being booted, right? So we had to move somewhere. And we said, why not go to Orem? We'll move to Orem, Utah. And I just full-time 2012 decided to just help people get a game plan. And it made us $84,000 in referral checks that year. But the magical thing that had happened that whole year, I was resisting the thought of building a team and everyone can refer and everyone can make money and you can be a network marketer. I'm like, oh, that just kind of sent shivers up my spine. I'm like, no way. I'm in your house, so no way in heck would I do that. But what I found as 2012 was coming to an end, and this man, Chris Crone, calls me into the corporate office and said, Gary, do you realize you have a team of 80 people that have become clients, have had some success? They've referred a few people. It's grown to 80. Why are you focusing on finding 1 or 2 people of your own now? Why don't you go serve those 80? And I remember saying, because that's network marketing and that's called babysitting. I don't like that. And we made a deal. He forced me. No, he painted a picture for me. And the picture he painted resonated. And I agreed for 6 months to try an experiment. And by March of the next year, 2013, our income had doubled or more. I had received a house bonus, my first one. And I had not done any personal referring anymore, yet I was making double the income. And that's when things started to be amazing to me and my wife as we were finding, wow, we can really help people. Even people we never really knew before, let's go just try to help them. And that has turned into 5 house bonuses for us now. 5, which thank you. Not really saying it to get applause, but just to say the power of this is so real. It's real. When I was standing back there and I heard Cheryl mention you have a couple homes, and LeBear and Sherry mentioned they have a few homes, and then I heard you say you're getting your 7th home with the Gradens. I'm like, I'm not going, well, that's 4, 7, 10, that's 14 house credits. No. I'm saying out loud, I would never say that. No, I'm just kidding. But I was back there thinking, how awesome is that? I have only 1 home I've done with Stromberg Knowledge. They have 7. Not yet, getting their 7th. You have some. Who cares what I've been able to do? Look what it's done for other people times about 400, like Chris said. And that, for me, is so motivating. It just happens to be along the way that if it's something you choose to buy in at or opt into, to be in, to refer, it can make you a serious income. For us, it allowed us to get the income we needed to close out some debts, to shut down part of our past, to start anew, and to now be in a position to buy real estate with our $35,000 bonus checks. We only did it with our first one. We blew 2 of them. No, I'm just kidding. But the point is, you can do whatever you want with them, and imagine the good that you can do. Just imagine if you had your mind open to a possibility tonight. It is a possibility for those watching on the computer, on the live stream, for those sitting in this room. If you just could open your mind to a possibility of, what about opportunities that I didn't know existed, but now I know they exist? What about the possibility on jumping on that type of an opportunity? I encourage you to look deeply, sincerely, even prayerfully if you need to. I encourage it. This could be an opportunity that can set a new direction and a new course to not just bless your life, but the lives of people that you don't even know yet. So thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to share a final comment here, and then I'd like to pass the microphone around, answer some questions. I do want to tell you, this is taking off like crazy. We're attracting all sorts of professionals in this industry like never before. And the cool thing about what it means is Gary Norris right there, he and his wife, they're responsible for well in excess of $150 million worth of real estate that they have impacted in this country. They've probably done more to help this country than the government has in the last 5 years. So if you stand with Stromberg, you take a stand for freedom and you take a stand behind a realistic business that is powerful, is life-changing, and it's all about creating freedom. So here's my final thought that I want to share, and then I want to pass the microphone around. Has anyone here ever read Robert Kiyosaki's book? Has anyone here ever heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Put your hand up if you have. How about Cash Flow Quadrant? Okay, real quick, for those of you that aren't familiar with Cash Flow Quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki says that you are in one of 4 quadrants. He says you're either an employee or self-employed, or you're a business owner or an investor. He says poor people are employees or are self-employed. Either the job owns you or you own the job. Self-employed usually means work 3 times harder for half the pay, right? To be employed or self-employed means that you are trading dollars for hours. When you cross over to the other side and do what the wealthy do, you have a business with systems and leverage in place that can ultimately run independent of you. Or you become an investor, where your money works for you. Tonight we presented 2 opportunities that your game plan will talk about. Either owning real estate or owning a business that you can become passive in. Is there anyone here that's interested in learning more about those 2? Because we're going to pass out, I think, on your way out, you can grab this little game plan request card. Fill that out, give it to the person that, we got Dan here. Put your hand up if you'd like to get one of these cards. And fill it out. And the purpose of the game plan is to show you what your options look like. And while those are being passed out, I'd like to pass the microphone around. Listen, my wife allows me to occasionally open up my home. And here's why I like to do it. There is not a more intimate place on the planet where you can ask the most vulnerable or skeptical question, and it's okay. There are no suits here. This is fun. This is casual. And some of you tonight are actually going to be ready to move forward and start your new career, start your brand new business. And by the way, one little thing that I didn't mention, when you pay the $4.99 and $99 a month, it comes with a special tax deduction software. And that tax deduction software usually gets your $4.99 and $99 a month quite often paid completely for free in your first year. Would any of you be interested in starting the business for free? Great. Don't just become a real estate owner, become a business owner, and you start picking up all those awesome perks. All right, who's got some questions? And we'll also take questions on Livestream. We're going to be checking the account there. Feel free to ask some questions. By the way, for my friends out there in Texas, Daryl, I just wanted to say, choo-choo, drop some jewels, drop Mike. What else? Go Gladiators. Let's turn some pages. Coming from your very, very white friend. All right, what do you got? What's your name?
My name is Adam Porter.
Yeah.
And I had a question about the bonus, the house bonus. What is that?
So it's a $35,000 check. And here's the way it breaks down. When you start building a team, that team of people are going to invite investors into the program. Sometimes the team will be investors themselves. That's often the case. What we do is we keep track of every house that they do. So when that team, every time they do as few as 75 homes, when that happens, that's when we cut you a $35,000 check. And then that whole network, they'll keep doing real estate because the majority of my business is repeat, old clients coming back for more. So what will happen is that check usually comes faster and faster and faster. I'm guessing that Gary Norris might be a year away from earning a $35,000 check every month. So by the way, if you're buying a house every single month, talk about control, talk about ownership. That's powerful, right? Yeah. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Awesome. This is an all-you-can-eat buffet. If you leave hungry, it's your fault. Go ahead, Riley.
I have a client that we're working with back in Bernal that asked me a question. They're on the live stream right now. Their question was, what about the saturation for the real estate deals that we're doing? As the IBD side grows, are those real estate deals going to decrease, or are we going to have more to match?
We are going to take down all the real estate in the entire country until there's no deals left.
That works?
No, I'm just kidding. First of all, my question to your friend is, why didn't they drive 3.5 hours to be here live tonight? It says something about their commit. Oh, just kidding. All right. So I'm just messing with you. Lots of love, peace. Okay. 3.5 years ago, I sit down with Mike Sheffield. Mike Sheffield says, okay, Chris, it looks like you want to hire us to put this in place. You need to pay a lot of money first and do a market cap rate. That's really what the question is. The question is, how much business can you bear? How much room is there in the industry for you? Is anyone else curious on that one? So this guy, this is what he does for a living. He's got to, listen, if I'm an algorithmic math nerd, then this guy is like an uber super math nerd. He's like superhero math nerd. His team, they've written a 434-page Excel spreadsheet that computes 200 unique variables that they track down inside your company to ultimately project the highest growth rate to see if your company can bear maximum growth. When we did that, it revealed some very interesting things. 3 years ago, it revealed that I had 2 bottlenecks inside of my fulfillment company that would not have been able to keep up. So I had to change, dissect, and reorganize a couple parts of my business. It also said then that with being able to keep up with it, that if we grew at our maximum capacity for 30 years, year over year over year, that we would then come to represent just shy of 1% of all the real estate that we're interested in across the entire nation. And that would make us a drop in the economic bucket and a very powerful company changing the way Americans invest in their retirement and real estate. So we've engineered ourselves in a way to be able to keep up with all that growth. And for the last several years running, please help us find more clients. We're just passing up amazing deals left and right. Great question. Other questions? Don't be shy. You're going to be on camera live in front of the entire world on that camera.
How do you exactly do investing on upward markets or downward markets? And how do you protect your investors, especially when the market's going to crash like what happened 8 years ago?
Thank you. So the short answer to your question is request your free game plan, and inside the 27-page report, it'll break it down for you. I'll give you just a slightly longer answer in lieu of time. I mentioned that we're in what's called equity growth markets. This is when the market is tanking, and we're also in cash flow markets when the market is coming back up. Why we're so popular today is because of our track record during 07, 08, 09, and our clients were making cash flow and growing and knocking it out of the park. So here's the way that it breaks down. When the market is in a recovery mode, that's where you want to go into the most distressed markets. Today that means Vegas, Phoenix, Orlando. Those are the top 3 out of the 350 markets that took the biggest beating. Where a $300,000 house I buy on average for $137,200. When I buy that house at that price, just for the insurance company to go and establish a rebuild cost, it's usually around $180,000+, not taking land into account. Factor in some basic land, and when that market runs out of population, meaning runs out of houses for the population growth that's been happening despite the building, that home at least has to go back up to rebuild value somewhere around $200,000, $220,000. You bought it for $137,000. So that's a real short explanation on the equity growth market curve. Otherwise, if you're going for these mega cash flow markets, that's where we spend the bubble periods of our time. So Memphis, Indianapolis, where we're actually on our last 1,000 transactions averaging a 14% cap rate. That's what we do in those markets. So for me, because I buy them all single family, below the median, where we feel the least amount of impact in the market's movement, and because I go into the very best markets instead of your backyard, which is ultra risky most of the time, statistically speaking, we're able to insulate our clients and help them basically make money in up and down markets. The long answer is in the game plan report. Thank you.
We have a question online. This is from David Gibson. says, hi, Chris, this is David from Albany.
Hi, David. David Facebooked me a couple days ago.
And I'd like to know, when you come in for $4.99 and $99 monthly fee, you build a team, and then you upgrade to the bigger package, can you still get residuals on the $99?
You still get the residuals on the $99 a month when you come in at the $4.99 and $99 a month. Absolutely. And what that $4.99 does, we call it a MAP PSA, or a My Action Plan Professional Service Agreement. I want to give you a coach. I want to be able to get you answers to your questions. For example, when I got started in real estate, do you know how much real estate I bought my first year? Get ready. Nothing. It took me 14 months of working with my coach to get my credit and my work history and a couple other little details where they needed to be. I was saving, for the life of me, a small $3,000 down payment to buy a house. That 14 months of saving and prepping was more meaningful to me than when I bought my 500th home. So the whole concept of the $4.99 and $99 a month, that's equivalent to what other companies will charge $20,000 or $50,000 for their education program. I don't want to do that. I want to create a program that can get everyone in and get you the essential information you need while you're in prep mode, and then I don't want you to lose out on any opportunity. So every dollar of that will apply to the main program, whichever one you choose, when you're ready to start transacting and building a portfolio of real estate. So hopefully that works for you, David. Other questions?
Could you please be a little bit more specific on how can I build residual income or passive income by using your system?
Excellent question. Thank you. So here's really the way this breaks down. So let me get real specific. There is, for example, a 9-minute video, one of 100 tools that we give you when you join. Lots and lots of tools. A very simple system that a lot of people will do is they will simply text a question. Do you know anyone that, have you ever been interested in making money in real estate or having a real estate business? If they say yes, you say, great, I just came across something. Here's this 9-minute video. They click the link, they watch it, you follow up with them. They're going to want a free game plan request. When you submit 20 game plan requests, that roughly equates to $2,500. So that's a person coming in at the full program and 3 people coming in and joining your team. So let's say that, give me your name again. So Jason is relatively new with us. You got started just this week, right? And tonight you brought your friend. What's your friend's name? Sean. So Sean was brought here tonight for the first time just after Jason got started. Let's say that Sean likes what he hears tonight. Did I see you filling out a game plan request? Okay, so right here, he's got his game plan request saying, I'd like to get some free information. You want to join this program. So when that $4.99 gets paid, I'm going to pay $125 of it as a fast start right here. And every time you make that $99 payment, I'm going to make a $28 residual payment right over here. And then that pays out on many other levels. So that's the first type of residual. Then I'm going to be paying out these $500 and $1,000 overrides that keep on going up too. So that begins to give you an idea of what that looks like.
Okay, David Gibson has a follow-up question. Says, what about those who have horrible credit like me?
Awesome. Part of the preparation mode is, that's what I needed to do for my 14 months, David, was that my credit wasn't where I needed it to be once I knew I wanted to start investing in real estate. So I held firm on my vision, and I got hooked up with a credit repair company, and I learned how to manage and take care of my credit and grow my credit. So we're going to do that with you. That's part of that prep phase, which in the meantime, while you're doing that prep phase, if you're going to get in on the business side for free, I'll tell you, that's a great time to start producing this additional income, the residual income, and start working towards that $35,000 bonus. It's for their benefit, not for ours.
Do you offer the credit repair program as part of your system? Is it a component that's in your plan?
Good question. All the training and education on credit repair, that's all provided for free. We have several different affiliate companies that we work with that we can recommend you out to. It depends on what type of credit repair you need. Sometimes it's just a matter of wiping inquiries off your list, and sometimes you've got some very serious heavy stuff where we have a team of lawyers that will take care of that. But that does come at an extra charge. Great question.
All right. What are the top few reasons why somebody would come and listen to this, but then walk away and not really get involved? And what are the reasons and the differences with those that you've seen take advantage of this, and what traits have they exhibited?
I have never had that intelligent a question, right? That's such a great round of applause right here. Fantastic question. Thank you. Next question. I just liked hearing it. All right, keep the microphone with him. I want to he may have a follow-up or make sure I understand this correctly, okay? Your first question is, why would someone walk away and not want to learn more, right? 10% of people do that. We'll make a little bit of allowance for people that just say, real estate, retirement, I don't get it. It may be they have a personal experience in real estate that was so bad that they're still licking the open wounds. That was kind of graphic. I'm a germaphobe. That's really, wasn't good. It could be that they're very, very wealthy or well-to-do, or they're really solid with their own plan. I do want to say something that's really important here. This is not for your do-it-yourself or investor. Some investors, real estate investing is a job for them. They don't want it to be passive. They want to go to Home Depot. They want to buy buckets of paint. They want to network with the electrician. They love that. Even if it makes them a lot less money than my system, they love it too much to give it up. At the end of the day, we're not attracting necessarily real estate investors. The majority of our clientele are people that are saying, I don't have an adequate retirement plan. I got a job. My job pays the bills. But I have two financial concerns. I got to pay the bills and I need retirement, and my job isn't really sufficiently doing both of those. So those are the people that say, I want a game plan and I want to learn more about this. No, I've never really thought about real estate being the vehicle to fund my retirement, but heck, yeah, I'll get some free information on it. So because 90% of the people actually do fill that out and want to know more, there could be a variety of reasons why the other 10% don't. Okay, now your other question was, what are the characteristics and traits of someone that comes into this and just blows it out of the park?
Or water.
Or water. Make like a leaf and tree. Make like a tree and run. Sorry, I'm such a nerd. In my own home, it's so nice.
Make like a tree and leaf, wouldn't it?
That's what it's supposed to be. Yeah, me and idioms would just, okay, train crash. Train wreck. There's a lot of, I'm really going too far out there. All right. The question again was, how do you blow it out of the park water? The water park.
The water park.
If you want to blow it out of the water park. Okay, this is a great question. Listen, if you have never been in business for yourself, if you are skeptically minded, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, this is probably too hard to do, do not get involved with this business. Do not let someone convince you because it sounds good enough or that it could make money. You are destined for failure. You're going to need a way higher level of commitment if you ever want to be in business for yourself. The difference between people who succeed in business and people who fail, number one, is you have to persevere. I'm going to tell you right now, you will invent like Edison at least 100 different ways that don't work very well in this business, even though I'll give you systems, because you have something called a learning curve. Now, if you have enthusiasm, natural excitement, and if your own personal freedom is driving you wanting something more in your life, I think that's all you need. You just got to be able to stick with the game and stick with it. I got people right now that blow it out of the park from 1 month. I got a guy in Texas he'll probably make $30,000 his very first month. I'll tell you, that's a total anomaly. I got other people that will struggle to make $500 their first month. So I think that coming in with a high commitment level and understanding, guys, we're talking about $499. I mean, we're not talking about like a $250,000 franchise fee. Pay the money, get in and get committed. Go to the trainings and follow the system. It's worth it. We know that you have a full-time job, but you're going to carve out 5 or 10 or 20 hours on the side to do something and do something phenomenal here. The other thing I'd say, and this is just for the Utahns, for heaven's sake, embrace MLM. There are two crowds in Utah. Those that don't like it, and those that don't like it don't know about the other crowd. Then there's the others that love it, and they make fun of this crowd. You know why? Because they make all of this money changing lives and helping people. I don't have to say that for really anyone else around the rest of the company. Most people don't look at our company actually as an MLM anyway, but I would say embrace the compensation model. If you're like Gary, you get some people in direct, 4 or 5 people, make yourself $10,000, $15,000. I get it, that's life-changing for people, but the other side of the compensation plan that says build a team, that's where we're going to have 7-figure monthly earners in time. Because that means that you are changing thousands and tens of thousands of lives. And so that's really, We've got room for people to work the model however they want. Some want to be direct, we'll love you that way. Some want to play this way, but my advice would be to take advantage of everything we make available to you, their tools.
Okay, you're right. I do have a follow-up. Thanks for opening your house, but where do we all sleep?
We're going to do a communal sleep off in here. It's actually funny that you asked that, because I've got Andrea Howard, one of my successful investors. She's new this year to the business. She's rocking it out of the park. She's promoting rank. She's awesome. But she called me up a couple of days ago, and she qualified for this special retreat up at Sundance for leaders. We ran a 90-day promotion. I've got people coming from in town to be up at Sundance with me on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for a lot of fun and training. We've rented out a theater, Tucanos, doing all sorts of great fun things. And Andrea calls me up. She says, well, we were actually in person. She says, so how does it work at the cabin? Do we all sleep in the same bed? I'm like, man, I have no idea what you're envisioning, but this isn't that party. We'll give you your own room. Anyway, I didn't mean to I'm just loving it. So when you ask where we all sleep tonight, we're capped at 8 or 9 bedrooms in this thing. So, yeah. One here and then there. Go ahead.
I have a follow-up to Eric's question on the traits that it takes. You talked about building your own business, but what kind of traits are there generally in someone who's mainly focused on investing? What personal characteristics do they need to have to make it big in that program?
Thank you. If you've never invested in real estate before and you become a client, your favorite fantasy within your first 4 months will be buying the only house on the planet that will never rent. That's every new investor's favorite fantasy. They love it. They think about it over and over again. They play it in their mind, and they think, this would be great. I'll have a house, I'll have a monthly commitment, and I'll never be able to pay it. It's an average of 42.3 days nationwide to get your house rented. So if we need to, we'll put 6 or 12 months of mortgage money in the bank to help cool those fears down. I think the word is assuage. So what I'm saying here is bring teachability, bring open-mindedness, and you're going to need some degree of trust until you have your own experience. The Gradens will probably tell you, now they got 4. Well, why not buy 3 more? They weren't investors before this. And so your first couple of homes is a learning curve. We invite you to put in 20 hours at least on your first home or two, just so that you can get educated on the markets and understand the process. Once you've done that, most people report putting in maybe 2 or 3 hours on each purchase. After that, it starts going really, really quickly. So teachability, open-mindedness, and just have some trust in the system. Don't psych yourself out. Yeah, we've thought of it all at this point. Go ahead, Wiley.
Kind of along those same lines, I think, when you're sitting in this room and I love what you said about this favorite fantasy that you have, because I think we play out in our minds, okay, well, what is the worst possible thing that could happen, if we got started in this? But I was doing a training a few weeks ago at one of our fast track academies, and I put some numbers together and I figured out I'm average. And, people look at what Clint and I have been able to do with, starting out with nothing, no education or anything, about how to do these systems. And we were able to, within our first year, earn $40,000 just in commissions from referring.
That's awesome.
And when I sat down and figured it out, the systems that you have when you get started, that we just get you started in these systems, that's what we did. And when I look back over the last year, we are completely average with what, is what training you get, and the leadership that you have is amazing. So really the only decision that you need to make right now is, do you trust the person that you brought here enough to actually request a game plan and just take that first step? And it's just one step at a time, and it's all there for you.
Thank you, Wiley. And I want to add something to that. And by the way, Wiley owns a couple of properties with us. Congratulations on that. I do want to add this idea that if you ever want to be in business, I want to be clear on something. If you are an employee, statistically it is impossible for you to retire with enough money in the bank based on the 4% rule to ever have enough money to replace your income. let alone even a third of it. It's pathetic. The stats are pathetic. You got to get started sooner rather than later. Eventually you get to the point where you realize, I need to be in business for myself. If you are, that means that every business has these components: sales and fulfillment and marketing. We're going to do the sales, we're going to do the fulfillment, and we've got a track record. You get to come in this opportunity for $500, and all you do is leverage the systems we've laid out for the marketing side. And if you can put in 4 hours a week or 40 hours a week, that's up to you. But either way, I don't know of a better business. You can start with a bigger economic engine where the time you put in can be very handsomely rewarded. Just mentally stick with it. Don't come in and say, well, I'll try this out for a month. Bad investment. Don't join. Next question.
I have some coworkers who are fairly loyal, friends as well as coworkers. I'd like you to try and tell me why you would talk me out of handpicking some people who I think would be of like mind and like interest, but without having the like resources to be able to do this. And I pay their $4.99 a month. So I pick 4 of them. I pay their $4.99 a month, and all 5 of us come to your meetings, go through the training, and participate. To me, that seems like a leveraging model that moves us more rapidly through this system, because I've got some people who are in it. Kind of like the old adage, misery loves company, but money loves more company. People love to be around somebody that's having success. So, can you talk
me to convince you why that's not a good idea?
Yes, thank you.
I like your idea. I think everyone should do that idea. Why? I am so confused right now.
Well, I thought you might come up with something like, well, they need to make the sacrifice. If they're getting free money in essence to do this, they won't stick with it. I thought perhaps you have some empirical data that you've collected, or somebody.
So how many takers? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, just kidding. No. Listen. You surround yourself with like-minded people. You build a team, you work as a team, you move as a team, and together go do something extraordinary. You're not going to win all by yourself. Anything you can do on your own is this big. You're not going to leave much of a legacy or footprint. You want to do something massive? I got news for you. You got to build a tribe. You've got to eventually, if it starts with you having the belief of getting just 1 or 2 or 3 people in, have a dream of 300, have a dream of 3,000. Those numbers aren't that big. In this business, you can be handsomely rewarded for a tiny team of 5 and 10. And then use that to propel yourself to the point where you become 100% full-time in this, like a number of people here in this room. I like the way you think. Okay, got a couple more questions right here.
All right. So I was actually thinking about this question along the way, and you've answered some of this, some of the thoughts that have been on my mind. But how do we prepare ourselves for success consciousness? There's a lot of skeptics out there, and I know also that you said that your mind was fully saturated over 4 years of doing this, that it was weird for you to get around poverty consciousness, around people who are filled with that mindset.
Thank you. 2 things on that. 1, this book that I shared with you, this is the left brain. This is its companion. This is the right brain. Ouch. The idea here of the conscious creator is it teaches 6 laws, 6 principles that begin this journey of developing the successful mindset of a successful business owner. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to shoot straight with you, that if you get into business and start a business, it will likely be one of the most difficult things that you've ever done. We'll make it as simple as we can, and some of you in this room will go on to have just absolutely crazy, raging success. But at the end of the day, when I say it's hard and challenging, is it's going to test you, because you've got to keep shifting and changing and reinventing till you find your groove. I've got some of my people that have been in this for a year. They've had very minimal success, and they finally latched onto a strategy that shifted things for them, and now the results are starting to move and shake. So you got to persist, you got to stick with it. So this book is a great place to start. Every month we have a free symposium to the public that we live stream. We do it live at the Utah Valley Convention Center, and that book is all that class every month is all about developing that consciousness. If I meet any of you that are really, really mentally jacked up, then I'm going to recommend one of our coaching mentoring programs and say, let's give you 6 months of hardcore mind transformation. By the way, Wileen and some of my friends, that doesn't mean you're jacked up. I'm rethinking, I'm on the flight, let me back it up a little bit. No, so what we do is we have even more aggressive programs for someone that says, Chris, I want to achieve not at a mediocre level or average level. I want to do something and go beyond. I'd like to do something life-changing. I want to leave a massive footprint. And we have more aggressive coaching and mentoring programs that are designed to do that. Because I believe that the rate at which you develop and change your own self and your own mindset is going to correlate directly to the success you have in business.
Right, which I was thinking a lot about, like, for myself, I want to believe in myself to the highest ability that I can achieve, and I know everybody in here and everybody out there wants to feel that way about themselves.
Well, as soon as you become a client, you get access to the calendar, and you'll see that monthly symposium. That's I don't know how to put a price tag on it, but that free monthly symposium ends up being a game changer for people that go and attend that. So that's something we provide to the public for free, and that'd be another great place to start. It's next week on Wednesday, right? At 7 o'clock at the Utah Valley Convention Center. It'll also be live streamed through a different link. So it's on our national events calendar. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Another question online. How does this set the realtor free?
Oh, how does this set the realtor free? Is this a setup? Okay, listen, to all of my realtors, I love you. I love my realtors. I got to say something to you. The people in this program are earning more money than you. And they don't have a license. And they don't have to do like their continued education, and they don't have any regulation. This totally reinvented the entire game for realtors. Now, by the way, realtors get added benefit. They get the real estate talk. We do a profit share on every transaction their clients bring in. So if you are a realtor, your business is either going out there helping people find primary houses or investments. You pay $4.99 and $99 a month, and guess what you get to add to your business model? Out-of-state national real estate investing. You now have something that will appeal to your most professional real estate investor. You have something that will appeal to your clients on primary residence that have never thought of investing. If you yourself are a realtor that don't play in the investment game, guess what? You now have the entire investment arm built in as a strategy. You don't have to move, shift, or change brokerages or do anything like that. So realtors love this program. It ends up being more than just a tiny little powerful add-on. Some will go to either replace, supplement, or they'll use it as a way to just blow their brokerage out of the park. So realtors love this program. It's really great. The biggest thing that it does for a realtor, though, is being a realtor, it's having a job in real estate. You got to get on the passive, on the investment, on the business side, and this will help you do that so that you can have your own retirement plan. It's not about transacting your next deal and making 3%. It's about having a solid retirement plan because you own the real estate yourself. So, hope that helps.
Thank you. That was from Jonathan Fortier. Thanks.
Thank you. Great question. All right, friends, let's just do 2 more questions. We're going to wrap up the evening. I want to thank you all for being here. Any last couple of questions? Does someone else want to ask like the really profound question of the evening? I know it's in there. All right, friends, I want to thank you for coming. Here's my encouragement for you. I want to actually end with one more addition to the answer of what qualities does it take to be successful? Move wicked fast. If you're the kind of person that takes a week to mull things over, takes a month to kind of think on things, if you've already been here like a month ago, the month before, don't join this business. If you're going to be in business for yourself, move. If it makes sense, move. We're talking about $500, not $500,000. If it makes sense, if it resonates, take action. Anyone that's in business knows that you're going to grow your business based off of your speed of movement. If you're slow, get back to people 3 days later, not very responsive kind of individual, I wouldn't get started. Come, play, and decide that you want to be successful with this, because honestly, I don't know of a model that is designed to create greater success over shorter periods of time, because you have this massive beast of leverage. You've got the track record. You're going to have every tool and aid you could want, from flip charts to videos to magazines to DVDs to whatever's, to help communicate the message. And look how simple it is. Communicate the message. Ask them if they want a game plan. If 90% of them want a game plan, and every 20 game plans is $2,500, then this is just about getting out there and sharing the message. In fact, one of the things that we'll show you is how in your first week you can send out 100 texts, and everyone that responds back, shoot them the video through text. You're going to get people that you can put on the phone with an expert in the business that will get them turned in for a game plan request. So we got ways to help you move fast. If you want to move slow, we've got ways for you. But my advice would be, if it makes sense, to move forward with it. So With that, God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining us over the internet around the country. Thank you for coming into me and my wife's home, and wish all of you sincerely the best of luck on your journey of creating freedom. We got one life to live. So don't live it mediocre. Live it grand. Live it great. Leave a legacy. Do something fantastic. Thank you.